Well, it's been a little while since I've done a video on the old Gambler 500 van. Well, heck, it's been a while since I've done a video in general. But I figured I would do one. The September Gambler 500 is coming up next weekend, so I figured I would do a little rundown to the few little things I've done to this thing since I bought it earlier this year and ran it in the redemption run back in March. So, first thing you guys might notice, I've done away with the wire Oldsmobile hubcaps and I've painted the old steel rims purple. Why did I go with purple? Well, because I had it. Because that's what I used right there when I did this paint job. So use some leftover purple for that. It still has the same tires on it on the front, but on the back, I found these on Amazon. These are the old style Gateway buckshot mudders. These particular ones are a size N78, which are, on paper anyway, a 31 by 920 tire. They're not really quite 31 inches tall. They're really closer to about 30. And they're probably not even 9.2 inches wide. They're probably more like about 8 3/4 wide. But man, oh man, what a difference they make. We've had this thing out on a couple of little runs off-road and stuff, and I mean, honestly, they made all the difference in the world on this van. Another thing I did to it, I had some video footage of it a while back, but I lost it all because of technical difficulties. I took the chunk out of the rear end in this thing with the intentions of putting a freebie one that I scored off from a friend of mine out of a truck in it with some lower gears, because come to find out, somebody had been into this before. And even though the van is a 95 model, it should have had like 342 or 373 gears and 30 spline axle shafts. It actually has 273 gears and 28 spline axles, which tells me that someone's put a rear end out of an older model non-overdrive van in it. Maybe even a truck, I don't know. So after I discovered that, I decided there wasn't really much I could do about it. So I took a old stick welder, did a quick and dirty weld job on the spider gears in this thing, and that's that. It still has 273s, which is way too high geared for my liking, but I'm not going to go spend money to really do anything about that. At least not right now, because I mean, heck, it's a Gambler 500 van. It cost me almost nothing. So welded diff, buckshots on the back. Next biggest thing was I scored a trailer hitch off from a guy I go to school with for 10 bucks. And of course it didn't fit, so I cut it and sleeved it with some square tubing and welded it back together and stuck it right on here. I mean, this is not really what you want to do, but I didn't put this on here to necessarily tow a trailer with or anything, unless it's like my lawnmower trailer, because let's face it, the van, it's a 4.3 liter V6 with 273 gears. You're not pulling much with it. But this is more like a tow point, like an anchor point. I did have my tow hook hid right up in here. I had to take it off because I had to take that bumper bracket off to put this on. But before next weekend, hopefully, I'm gonna drill some holes and put that tow hook back on the side of this thing, just for good measure. And yeah, I mean, that's mostly what I've done to this thing. It's still, it's still got all the stickers and stuff on it. The interior is still the same as it ever was. Still has the old pleather sofa in the back. I'm about to take this thing right today and go clean it out real good and get it ready for this next upcoming weekend. Get back on there. And so, yeah, that'll be a lot of fun. I'm excited. Oh, one other thing I'm going to do to it. So I had toyed around with the notion of putting a snorkel on this thing. But honestly, right there where that intake is on this thing, that's at least 3.5 feet tall right there. I mean, it's way up there. And even with a snorkel, if you're running through water deep enough to come up to that, you're in bad shape already. Yeah, at that point, a snorkel's irrelevant if you're in water deep enough for that. The biggest reason I was going to do it, though, I mean, you can see how much mud and stuff is splashed in there. But actually what I'm about to do when I get home with this thing is I'm going to take that breather off. It's got a little notch in it where it can only go on there one way. I'm going to file a notch in the opposite side, and I'm going to stick that thing back on there backwards. So it's drawing air in from the opposite direction, and hopefully that'll make it to where when we go busting a mud hole wide open and it splashes muddy water up in here, it'll be less prone to go straight into the air intake. And of course I've also got a new filter to go on it, and so yeah. I'm pretty sure that's about all I've done to this thing, really. But man, you just can't really improve that much on something that's already perfect. Let's just face it.